Yeah. So, as being subjective, that's all we are. We're not objective. We're never objective. Even the reason that why I'm talking about this stuff is because my own subjective experience plus my awareness, coming aware of that it is just an experience using the logic from their own teachings, of course, that I was subjective to, mixing it and understanding the way it works as a game, as a structure. Now, of course, it's structured because it is a structure in its own. It is a pattern. All beliefs are a pattern. All beliefs, let it be self-identity, government, education, religion, it's all a pattern. So, point being, this whole talk that I'm having here is not necessarily for me to teach you something, because these are things that you already know. I'm just making you re-aware of it in a sense. Kind of like, just be aware that there's no reason to make fun of anybody. There's no reason to feel bad about yourself, to be afraid of who you are, social experiences, to be afraid of death. Because all these things are life. And who we think we are is just a reflection of what they want us to be. In a sense, we need to be consumers so that they can stay above us. As I said, there's multiple aspects in control. So these media who are selling, in order for them to stay on top, we have to be on bottom of them. So for us to be on the bottom of them, we've got to be consumers to them. We've got to need them. Now, they sell us problems so that they can sell us solutions. You get what I'm saying? Oh, I'm fat, I need to lose weight. Oh, I'm skinny, I need protein so I can build up muscle. You know what I mean? Oh, my hair is flat, so I need a curling iron. But in all reality, without the ideality of it, we wouldn't care if our hair was flat, if we were fat, if we were skinny, because we are just a part of the human experience. All that is ideality. It is a fallacy of the mind. But not necessarily we generated our own fallacies. They were taught to us, of course. They were taught to us so that we can stay ultimately lower than the ones who want to stay on top. But the reason they want to stay on top is because the conditioning has gone on and on and on. And to be honest, maybe the government even out at this point isn't even aware that they're, falling a victim to their own subjective past, being an ideal sense of reality, a sense of reality that money matters. Because here, this right here, this is a card, okay? Now, the card, all this does, it works as money somehow. But what is this? Well, it's a piece of plastic with some writing on it, but what is the real meaning of this? Nothing. It's just an idea. It's representing that we worked and we've got money so that we can pay. Now, all money is an idea. It's not an actual thing. There's no such thing as money. There's just an idea. And even when, well, what about gold, Well, gold is, we'll say, a rare, stone, or no, I don't even call it stone, maybe a mineral throughout the world. So they used it to trade because it was rare, hard to seek. Now, that got thrown to the wind. Now there's money, money. It's all the same, it's just an idea attached to anything. I mean, if it would have come back to it from the dawning of time, they could have taken something like a leaf from a certain plant, and this is money because it is rare. Now, if you take something, these are people that want to be on top, of course, because if they wanted everybody to have an equal share and everyone to live fairly, there would be no such thing as on top. Think of it like, okay, here you go. Think of society. Think of this life. Think of it as a game of Monopoly, okay? You take someone who's never played the game before, never, ever, ever. And you take someone who knows the rules in and out. They've played the game many, many times, and they've mastered it. They understand the rules of the game. Both people start out with the same amount of money, but yet, who do you think's going to win? Well, of course, it's going to be the same person who knows all the rules, because they're going to know how to manipulate the system, how to manipulate the game, okay? So, think of society like that. Be aware. Realize that we are not necessarily in a free-for-all for it, but be aware that it is a game. And in order to play the game well, don't blame anything. Blame yourself, because you can ultimately be aware and you can ultimately seek the rules, understand them, use them to your advantage. How they manipulate with psychology, we can do the same. And it is their own beliefs that they push onto us that it is unjust. But in our reality, it is what they do to us. They don't want us to do it to gain ahead. They want to stay on top. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. It's not a power struggle, but if you want to live, this is just a bit of advice. If you want to, we'll say, have those fallacies and succumb to them, then so be it. It doesn't matter. Just experience this life, because all this life in this body is a waiting game. You are born to wait to die. There is no real meaning. We know no meaning. There might be a biological meaning for our bodies, but as far as spiritual, if there is a spiritual realm, unless we're just consciousness developed from a impulse in the brain, who knows? Does it matter? I mean, many people will look up science and try to argue it, but it doesn't matter. Because the fact is, I am here, I am talking, I am alive, all is as it is, because it can be nothing else. It's not what you think it is. It is as it is. Not necessarily even as you see it is, but it only is as it is. All you can do is give it your undivided awareness, not through filter of mind, not with judgment perspective, by accepting it for as it is. Everything and nothing. Because when there is no filter, everything is itself, and everything is nothing. Because it is all space, in a sense. That's just a perspective. You cannot see it that way. You can only perceive it that way. Remember that. As Hindus use third eye terminology, that's your perspective. You perceive with your third eye, let it your perspective. So that's all I got. And yeah, if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask me. I'm not saying I know any answers, but I can definitely give you my perspective if you're curious to know. Thank you.